Fast food restaurants, iPhones, Netflix, microwave dinners, Venmo, instant messengers, DoorDash, TikTok, drive-thrus. All of these things represent why you're likely never going to achieve your dream physique. All of those things I mentioned represent the I want it now mentality that everyone seems to have and kids are growing up with nowadays. Instant gratification, it's what we want. I want that, I want it now. And that's not necessarily in and of itself a bad thing. All those things I talked about, a lot of them give us convenience, helps to do things more efficiently so we don't waste our time. But when it comes to changing your physique, to making sustainable goals, unless your body's already exactly how you want it, you're just gifted, you're lean, muscular, however you want to look, which probably isn't the case if you're watching this video, then this outlook is not going to work when it comes to changing into that dream physique that you want to have. Because when it comes to changing your body, there are no quick fixes. It takes a long time. And if you came here expecting to see the fix on how to get my dream physique quickly in the next few months before summer, well, you might as well click off this video, because just like those things I mentioned, TikTok that shows a representation of no attention span anymore, you have to have a long view and commitment to what you're doing. Likely most people probably already clicked off this video by now, 50–60%. So let me know down in the comments if you're actually still here watching the video past the 1 minute point. But if you are willing to make commitments and change your lifestyle, I'm gonna give you 3 things that will help you get towards your dream physique. And there's nothing cosmic about what I'm about to tell you. It's things you've heard before, but it's how this process works. And number 1 is your diet. People have a misconception to when it comes to changing your body, I need to start running, I need to start lifting weights, I need to start doing whatever type of cardio to burn fat. And yes, that helps, that will burn fat. But when it comes to actually changing your body as far as how much fat you have, losing fat, building muscle, whatever it is, those changes happen in the kitchen, because what you eat determines whether you're going to put on weight, whether you lose weight, whether you're going to maintain your weight. Learning how calories work, calories in versus calories out, at the end of the day is what happens. Whether you're fasting, you're doing keto, carnivore, paleo, whatever type of diet you're doing, the amount of calories you're taking in on that diet is going to determine what happens with your body. But then also the macros you have with protein, carbs, and fats will make a difference too. And when it comes to building muscle, having a certain amount of protein every day is really important. Shooting for 1 gram per pound of body weight is gonna help you to build muscle. It's what I try to hit every single day and makes a huge difference. But when I talk about diet, I'm not talking about going on a diet to lose fat or going on a certain diet to gain muscle. What I'm talking about is just changing the type of diet you have. You need to understand how foods affect you, what foods help you to build muscle, things that help you to lose fat. Overall, it's a calorie deficit, but if you're just eating junk food, I mean, you could literally eat Oreos and lose weight, but you can't just eat Oreos and work out and expect to build muscle. So there's certain types of foods you do need to have, and you have to have balance. For example, I eat pizza pretty much every week, have pasta every week, usually ice cream as well, and I learned to have those things in moderation, because if I ate only those things, it wouldn't be that beneficial, but it's things I enjoy, so I'm not gonna completely cut it out. So if you find yourself following some kind of fad diet where you completely cut everything out, that's not sustainable. You need to make sustainable changes in order to reach your goals, because that's the reason most diets fail. People get to a certain weight. It's easy to lose the weight. You have a goal, but when you get there, what happens? Well, you just go back to do what you're doing before, which caused you to gain weight in the first place you didn't want. You typically rebound because people crash diet. It's a problem. The same with building muscle. You can't just think, oh, I'm just gonna work out a bunch, build muscle, maybe even take drugs to do that and get to where I want, and then I'll just be done and quit. You can't do that. You're gonna lose muscle. You gotta change your lifestyle in order to maintain those things once you get to whatever your goal is. And when it comes to recipes, I have lots of videos about food, about things that are gonna help you lose fat, gain muscle, those types of things on the channel. Lots of recipe ideas for breakfast, snacks, dinners, all kinds of things that I typically eat just about every day. Because when you find those things you like, you can eat the same things pretty much every day. I usually go out to eat every 2 or 3 days as well. And when you go out to eat, you don't have to eat junk food just because you're out. I almost always eat like fish, grilled chicken, vegetables, that type of stuff when I go out. And then you might think, oh, that's boring. I eat that type of stuff at home. But you gotta keep in mind, the things still taste good. Just because there's some kind of fried chicken, ribs, whatever, with lots of French fries that ends up being 2,000 calories for that one meal. Sure, that tastes good, but the other things I eat also taste good. So try to get in the mindset of, oh, I'm not missing out on this. I'm just eating this that also tastes good. But getting your diet right is what's really going to make the biggest difference in your physique, with getting your body looking how you want as far as leanness is concerned. Which leads us to step number 2, and that is exercise. Depending on what your goals are, you need to have a consistent exercise program in place. Maybe you're not like me, you don't want to build muscle, but a lot of people watching this channel are into building muscle, bodybuilding, that type of stuff. You see guys in movies like Jonathan Majors, Chris Evans, all these different Marvel superhero action stars who have these great physiques that you want to have. But the problem with those guys is that you can't just look at their men's health articles or men's health YouTube videos and see, oh, this is how these guys worked out. Now I can put on 40 pounds of muscle in 3 months like Chris Hemsworth did. That is unrealistic, even with drugs. That is not gonna happen. You're not gonna put on 30, 40 pounds of muscle in a few months while dropping fat. And if that's your goal, then you're gonna be very sadly disappointed when you come to the end of that. Because like I said, that I want it now mentality, they put these big numbers up on the screen in their articles, get you thinking that's possible, that's what the norm is, when it is really not. Body changes are a very slow process. You can lose fat pretty quickly, but when it comes to building muscle, gaining 10 to 15 pounds in a year is a pretty high goal. And that's if you're a beginner. The further along you get with building muscle, the slower it's gonna go each year. Like I put on about 12 pounds of muscle a few years ago in a year, and then the next year after that, it was like maybe 8, and this past year, maybe 5. So you see these guys in these roles and they've been working out for years and years, maybe even decades, and they've been building up this base forever. Then you see them in a movie after they get famous and you think, oh, that's what I wanna get. I'm gonna get that in 6 months. You're not gonna see huge changes in that amount of time. And that's why this is a long game. You have to stick with it. You have to get a sustainable plan. And if you wanna get a crazy physique like these guys, naturally, you're gonna be putting in a lot of time in the gym. If you wanna get noticeable changes in your body, you're gonna have to go at least 3 times a week to the gym probably. And as you get more and more advanced, that's going up to like 5 to 6, maybe even every day. I typically work out every day doing some kind of weightlifting or cardio just because I enjoy it. I like to do something every day. It gives me something to look forward to and pushing myself and trying to do a little better than what I did the last time I worked out. So you gotta find a good workout program, something that works for you and your schedule that you can stay consistent with, not just going all in and doing 2-a-day workouts and this crazy stuff that I've seen people do. They end it, and then what happens is they quit working out, their diet goes to crap again, and then your body completely changes for the worst. You almost probably would have been better doing nothing to start with because now you look even worse. It's probably not what you're going for. But as far as workout plans, I have lots of stuff on the channel showing how I work out, different ideas for beginners, things you can do. You just got to figure out what works for you and something you can stick with, and then slowly build upon that as you get better and better. And one of the best ways to help you stay consistent and keep that motivation is to take pictures and track your progress every 3 to 6 months, seeing what you look like, how much you weighed, how much your measurements are, because you're not gonna see those changes on a day-to-day basis. But then when you look from now to a year prior, you're like, wow, I actually look way different. And then you're motivated to keep going to see what you can do next. And the final thing you have to get right is really the easiest, and that is sleep. It's so easy for us to just sit on the couch, watch TV, lounge around, not do much, and then stay up later and later. And then you got to get up early for work, or like me, you got kids waking you up, whatever it might be, depending on how your job works. Then you're tired, you're only getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night. Ideally, you want to be getting 7 to 8 hours, maybe even up to 9 if that's something you really need. But 8 hours is the goal. You get that, it's really important, because when you're exercising, when you're working out, you're lifting weights, you're tearing your muscles down, and they're not getting bigger while you're working out, they're actually getting worse. And then when you sleep, that's when your body is recovering and repairing things. So if you're not getting adequate sleep, you're really holding yourself back on what you could be achieving. So analyze your life, see what's going on, what's keeping you from sleeping. And if it's something you can cut, well then maybe that's important to do that, because you put all this work into training and all this work into your diet, and then you blow it all in sleep and you're holding yourself back from what you could be doing. Obviously, if you got kids, you can't really cut them, but you can do the best you can with trying to get an adequate amount of sleep. And those are the 3 things you gotta get right and you gotta do consistently over time in order to get towards your dream physique. And unfortunately, what happens is the more and more you improve, you're probably gonna see your physique, see those progress pictures from over a long period of time and be like, man, look how far I've come, but now I want this, but now I want this. Once you hit that goal, then you're gonna want something else, and it's never gonna be good enough. So you gotta learn to be happy with something. Like me, I'm happy with how I am now. I do like improving, and it's fun lifting more weights and shooting for something else. But if I stayed how I am now, I wouldn't be sad. I like the way my physique is. I like the way my lifestyle is. I like my family and doing things with them. My wife is fine with how I look. She's happy, I'm happy. So figure out what makes you happy. If the only thing that makes you happy is the way you look, and you think that if you get this certain physique, it's just gonna fix all your problems, it's not. Just like if you think you get the perfect job, or if I get paid more money, then all my problems are gonna go away. No, they're not. You're just gonna realize that you want more and more and more no matter what you do. So learn to be content and learn to just make a sustainable lifestyle that's enjoyable, that has balance. And that's really the best way to be happy in life. And if you're interested in following my progress and my lifts and what I do and posting things about my life and what's going on with the family and how I shape my lifestyle to stay healthy, because my goal is to be healthy as long as possible, to be there for my family, check out @Camber Fitness on Instagram, and I will see you in the next one.